left. Hello, my name is Andy Hayes, and for this experiment, I will be testing whether yawning is contagious or not using technology, particularly through Zoom and FaceTime. So, what is yawning? Yawning is described as the gaping of the mouth accompanied by a long inhale and followed by a shorter exhale. Let me show you what this looks like. There you go. There's an example of a yawn. So it has been shown that yawning begins while we are still in the womb at about 20 weeks of gestation, and then yawning continues on throughout our life. So although yawning is said to begin while we're in the womb, in a study from the University of Connecticut, they found that most children did not begin contagiously yawning until around 4 years old. So they do yawn before 4 years old, but according to this study, they do not start contagiously yawning until they reach around the age of 4. Researchers also suggest that contagious yawning is triggered automatically by our primitive reflexes in the primary cortex of our brain. The primary cortex of the brain is what controls our motor function. Contagious yawning is a common form of a phenomena called echo phenomena, specifically echopraxia, which is the automatic imitation of another's actions. Other than contagious yawning, an example of echopraxia would be laughing after you see or hear other people laughing. So far, contagious yawning has been seen in studies on humans, chimpanzees, and dogs. The basis of contagious yawning is unknown, but it is suggested that it might have something to do with our mirror neurons and hyperexcitability of cortical motor areas of the brain. Watching or hearing someone yawn activates a network of the brain that is associated with motor imitation. So there has been studies that support this idea through brain imaging, but there also has been studies that also use brain imaging that do not support this idea or this link to the motor imitation area of the brain. So, contagious yawning is said to vary among individuals due to the different ways people process information. Yet there have been several in-person studies that do show the phenomenon of contagious yawning to be true. In a study of contagious yawning among college students, about half of them were shown to contagiously yawn under lab conditions. Another study showed that the likelihood of yawning is increased 6-fold after seeing somebody else yawn. So yawning is thought to be contagious by seeing someone yawn, hearing somebody yawn, or even through reading the word yawn or anything about yawning. So having this background information and knowing all this, I came up with my hypothesis and my experiment. My hypothesis was that more than 50% of my subjects would yawn during the interview section, the video section, and the reading section. I came up with this hypothesis because, according to my background information, plenty of studies have shown significance in yawning being contagious. So I believe that if greater than 50% of the people in the study yawned, well then it must be contagious. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic and having to quarantine, I was not able to test my subjects in person. So my study's a little bit shifted more towards, is yawning contagious through technology like Zoom and FaceTime and other forms of video chat. For this experiment, I tested 4 males and 6 females. And to get them to partake in my study, I just reached out to them and told them that I had to do a project for my summer class, and I was wondering if they would partake in it. So for the ones who said that they could, I sent them the Zoom link or FaceTimed them. And when they got onto the video chat, I just told them it was a quick interview for class, there's the first part, I would just be asking them some questions. They'd watch a couple of videos and read me a couple paragraphs, and that was it. I did not mention to them what the study was about because I thought that if I told them that I was trying to test whether yawning was contagious through technology, that if they were aware of this, that it would skew the results. So the first part of my experiment was the interview section. And so this section was started right when they got on the Zoom. I greeted them, said hello, asked what they've been up to, their names, all that kind of stuff. And then I also asked them a few questions. One, I asked what they've been up to this summer. And the second question, I asked them to tell me a goal they would like to fulfill sometime in life. And in this section, I yawned 5 different times throughout the interview section to see if this would make any of the people yawn. And I watched and tallied it down as they yawned. From there, we moved on to my video section. And in this section, I made sure that they had their phones available, and I sent them a link to a short YouTube video. The first video I sent them all was a movie scene that included Will Ferrell yawning about 4 or 5 times to see if watching this scene would trigger them to yawn. For the second video, I just picked out just a random video that didn't include any type of yawning in it. And again, in this video section, I tallied down how many times that the person I was testing yawned. For the reading section, I had 2 different short passages that I just wrote up myself. The first passage was just my control passage, which didn't talk or have anything to do with yawning or being tired at all. And then the second passage I had them read out loud to me included the words yawning and yawn about 3 times. So, and then again during this section, I marked down if during any time they yawned during the video chat. In this next part of my presentation to you, I will be showing you screenshots of my outline of the experiment so you can see what exactly I asked them and what we talked about. So for my experiment, I did the same order for each person that I was testing. I started with the interview section, sent them the link to the first video, which contained the yawning, and then after that, I had them read the first passage, which was the control passage that didn't talk about yawning at all. And then I had them watch the second video, which was my control video that had nothing about yawning or any person yawning in it. Then they went on to read the second passage, which did contain the words yawning and yawn in it. When going through my experiment, if I were to find 50% or more of people at least yawning 1 time in each section, this would confirm my hypothesis and tell me that yawning is indeed still contagious even through technology like video chatting. And if the yawn counts and numbers were way below that of 50%, this would tell me that yawning is not contagious through technology. So now I will be telling you about my results. And also this will be showing a short little photo montage of the people who helped me with my experiment. Okay, so to my surprise, only 2 people out of all the 10 that I interviewed ended up yawning altogether in the whole experiment. I was literally mind blown. I expected so many more people to yawn, especially in the interview section because that was a more personal section, so I felt like more people would feel the need to yawn after seeing me yawn 5 different times during the video chat. So like I said, only 2 people throughout the entire study yawned, and both of these people only had 1 count of yawning, and both of them were during the interview section. So my mom, Lori, and my friend Carson were the 2 people who got the 1 count of yawning in the interview section. So by analyzing these results, I calculated that 20% of people yawned during the interview section, and nobody, 0% of people, yawned in the video and reading sections. With these results, I deny my hypothesis. Significantly less people yawned than what I had expected and hypothesized. With these results, I came to the conclusion that yawning is not contagious through technology like over video chatting. And with that, my myth is busted.